We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Our guest this morning is Metro Vice Mayor Jim Schulman, and we were just talking about how much people go out and about one way or the other. And I think we were saying during the break, and we can take phone calls, by the way, at 737-7587, that if you're careful, you can find a way to function. You don't have to stay homebound. We're not recommending people just lock themselves up and not go out at all. Would you say you and I both, hell, you're here with me in studio today. We social separate. We don't get close. There's ways you can do it safely, is there not?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so, I went to the grocery store yesterday, wear a mask. I'm like I was talking before, I kind of have that idea. It's like I need to be apart from everybody. I follow the guidelines at the grocery store. I follow little markers on the floor. I go up and down the right ways. I mean, it's just a matter of, first of all, of being safe, but it's also, I want to keep doing that. I want to keep being able to go to the grocery store and do other things. So I'm going to try to take the steps necessary to be safe. You do the best you can. I know sometimes you get in a situation where maybe you're a little too close, but you're trying to be careful. Going to the party doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
some are just over the top. And the truth is, there are some people I think we've both read about, or maybe know personally, who have really done everything right and still somehow, some way been exposed. And that can happen as well.
Well, yeah. So again, virus, can't see it, can't hear it, can't taste it, whatever. It's floating around out there. It is not gone. We still don't have that vaccine. I know everybody's pushing really, really fast to get something done. I hear that lots of money are being poured out of Washington to try to find this vaccine. But remember, once it has to be tested, and then it has to be distributed. And I think we got to figure out how that's going to work. Until then, it's kind of up to us. I mean, we got to figure out a way to kind of find a way to work around this thing while they're trying to come up with a way to cure it.
Yeah. It seems like what's frustrating for so many people is that had we stayed on the track we were, and I know the pressure was on politicians from the governor on down to reopen because of the economy and politics involved with this. But I mean, had we not, and if we stayed and continued even when the numbers started getting better and not reopened so fast, we wouldn't be in the pickle we are now. That's the crazy thing about it. So many people complaining now, and we've backslid. And the unfortunate thing is, we could be so much far better off right now and not facing some of these new hardships so many of us are going to face had we just stuck to our guns and not said, oh, it's better now? Okay, let's go dancing. I mean, that's the way it is. And it just seems to me like, and that's why I think, I really fear what's happening with schools opening. I know Metro is going a bit slower, but some other schools around the state are opening today. And some of them aren't even mandating masks. And I just really, really worry that we're going to see children get sick. And one reason we haven't seen children get as sick is because they haven't been back at school and they've been home. Everyone thinks, oh, it's because children are immune from this. No, they're not immune. And yes, children can spread it. And that's what really worries me the next 2 or 3 weeks, what we are going to see.
Well, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. So every different counties have different policies and different rules. I was looking at, I think the study's coming out that says every county now in Tennessee is at an unacceptable COVID-19 rate.
Everyone.
Again, it's responsibility. It's taking steps to try to keep everybody safe. This is really, really difficult. I think we just have to watch those numbers, Nick, and be really cautious and careful, and we should be worried. I think back, I mean, this was one of those things where obviously countries were dealing with it at different times, and you saw some of the countries like Italy, like some of the countries in Europe, taking drastic steps, and now they seem to be opening, and we don't hear about them anymore, at least as much.
Right.
And here we come, and we blow our numbers up, and it's really scary. And then instead of again, I know freedom's in this country, but then as we're going through this really difficult, what I consider basically a second wave. Some people thought we never got out of the first wave, but as we got to that second wave, you see, last week it was, or 2 weeks ago, it was, crowded sidewalks downtown, the bars were closed, and people still walking around with no mask. And then this week you're seeing the buses drive by, and you're seeing these parties. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got a ways to go, and that vaccine's not here. And even when it's got to be tested. Then we got to figure out how to get it to people.
Yeah, the attitudes that are out there, don't you think? You've said it a couple times. I agree. No amount of social distancing or masks, if everyone's not on the same page, is really going to make a difference. Heck, we have a governor that won't mandate a mask. Okay, and so. It's going to come down to the cure and a vaccine. And you know what? There's a bunch of people out there that are not going to want to take a vaccine. And by the way, Dr. Schaffner at Vanderbilt, who I have a lot of respect for, know him personally, and he's made it very clear. They're not cutting corners on this. What they're doing is putting all their resources and being able to do it quicker than usual because they're focusing on this exclusively. And when a vaccine comes about, if it's tested and it's released to the public, I'm going to be first in line to have it. I have no problems with it when that time comes. And that's what it's really going to come down to beat this. Ultimately, and we're going to have one at some point, is going to have to be some kind of very effective treatment or vaccine.
Isn't it interesting? So I've heard people go, well, how do you trust the vaccine? And you just talked about Dr. Schaffner.
Yeah.
So, I have great confidence in Dr. Schaffner and folks at the health department and on the national scene, Dr. Fauci and those folks. This is when this thing is ready to go. I'm just like you. It'll be time to take the vaccine.
Yeah.
Get the politicians out of the way. Let the health people come up with this stuff. Let them explain what's going on. You've got lots of people with proper safeguards. I know we'll get into that stuff. It's like, oh, this is not, I don't trust the vaccine. We got people who don't trust vaccines now.
Right, exactly. So you're going to be up against that. But the difference on that, see, that's what's so scary right now is the people that don't abide by this. And I wish them well. I don't wish them any ill will. But they're going out there and they could end up spreading it to me or to a loved one of mine or a friend or to you. And that's what bothers me. When the time comes that there's an effective vaccine, and some people choose not to get it, fine. I will get mine. I will be protected. They won't. They will get sick, and some of them will die. And you know what? That's on them. I'm sorry if that happens. But at that point, at least I can protect myself. I can protect my loved ones. My friends can protect themselves. You can make the call. The difference now is no one can protect themselves, and we all can spread it to everyone else. But when the vaccine comes, and if it works, and you choose not to get it, and you get the flu or COVID, hey man, have at it. That's you now. Sorry, you made that choice. Right now, no one has a choice for this thing. It can target anyone. That's what bums me out.
Well, the thing that at some point we want to talk about better news. At least these groups are trying the vaccine, and I know the tests are being done. And I saw today in a news story that now they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we inoculate or spray people or whatever it is that we're going to do. At least we're starting to think ahead. And I would say that at some point, Nick, as much as this is a difficult conversation, that we have to then start thinking further ahead in terms of at some point we're going to get on the other side of this thing. So, love the fact that the Preds started yesterday, even though they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sign of some things where we're looking at something more positive. Now, be more positive if we had won.
Yeah.
But, that's something. Baseball's back, even though they're having some trouble. Where do we want to go as a city? Well, we have a council meeting tomorrow night. We're trying to maintain as regular a schedule as we can. We do have to meet the first and third Tuesdays of the month. So here we go. We have a public hearing tomorrow night. We have bills on public hearing. So we are functioning like we're supposed to. We may be doing it virtually, which is has its own set of problems, but we're doing business. We want the rest of the place to do business as well. And at some point, I think we want to look forward to things that are going to be good, that are either going to happen before we get through the end of this because we figure out a way to do it, or things that will come back after we get on the other side of this thing and that we can look forward to.
Yeah.
I think with all the negativity, all the stuff we see, all the stories, I mean, sometimes I hate to watch the news.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just
me
hate
too.
to watch it because it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
So
you already know where you stand, and so do I. I'm with you. Sometimes the news, I can only handle so much of it because I keep hearing the same thing over and over again, which I know is accurate. I just don't want to keep hearing it again and again. Listen, we'll take a quick break on that. Come back with our final segment, maybe more about what's happening with the council meeting tomorrow, and then also, maybe touch a little bit on, where we stand as we move ahead on the search for the new police chief and some of the things with law enforcement and all of that as well, other than COVID. We'll be right back after this.